toys, 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 and more toys. But what you will notice is this isn't being driven. It's taped up and needs a paint job. What you will also notice is that right there, my most fun toy that I've ever owned, doesn't run. Same with that four-wheeler right there, which is both in for service. So the point of today's video is no better said than what Tyler Durden from Fight Club said.
Things you own end up owning you.
Last week, for the first time of the year, I took my boat out. Nearly sunk. Luckily, I planned ahead of time, and we saved the boat and my family, and we made it back. Today's video, we are gonna figure out where the leak is coming from because I paid professionals to do it, and they couldn't do it. So now we have to figure out how to diagnose it. $10,000 later, I'm still the one working on my boat, which is so frustrating. B-O-A-T. What does B-O-A-T stand for? You guys know, and you're gonna tell me in the comments. Oh man, let's go figure out what's wrong with this disgusting boat. My name's Craig from Flying Wheels. Let's get going. I do love my toys, and let's face it, a lot of you guys do too, which is why you watch my videos. Well, during 2020, peak COVID, I bought a boat, and I scored a boat down in Fort Lauderdale. Now, I live in New Hampshire. Everything was shut down. Every hotel was shut down. We paid $17 for flight tickets on JetBlue from Boston to West Palm for my wife and I buy a boat that we got at auction that we were told runs, didn't run when we got there, barely was towable because the trailer was the wrong trailer for the boat, too small for a giant boat. We had two blowouts. The boat turned out that it had sunk at some point. No one told us that, and they did a shoddy repair, which we're still trying to figure out. I ended up having to do an engine. I ended up having to do the bellows to replace the gaskets around the engine. We did a full restoration of the thing. It was great for 1 year after, not in 2020, 2021. It was great for 1 year. Then I noticed that the bilge pump started kicking on a little too often. So at the end of the year, when it was time to winterize the boat in 2021, I mentioned to the marina that did the engine in 2021, hey, it's kind of leaking a lot. But like the bilge is kicking on, it's taking on too much water. So like, oh, we'll take a look at it when we winterize it. They did. They said, oh, when we put the platform in, we missed a couple screws, we put some silicone, we screwed it in, everything's good. Take it next year, go enjoy. Fast forward to 2022. I dump it in the water, everything's all right. The pump is still kicking on way more than it should. So you know what? It eventually just started getting so bad that I stopped using it. Like beginning of August, end of July, I'm like, forget it, it's not worth the headache. I'm like physically, manually pumping water out by hand with a hand water pump that I got at Home Depot every time we stopped, or halfway across the lake when we stopped. I got so fed up with it, I stopped using it. We winterized it end of 2022, and I'm like, hey guys, this thing's still leaking. And they're like, oh, all right, well that boat actually has a recall on the hull. There were 2 cracks from the manufacturer they'll fix for you. Well, let's take a look at it. I get a call back, and they're like, nope, you're out of warranty, and it's not that. It's the bellows, the gasket, you know, it needs to be replaced. I'm like, oh, perfect. I told you about this last year that it was leaking. The bellows were brand new last year. It was like $3,000 to do. They're like, yeah, it's out of warranty. But I told you last year. Yeah, but now it's out of warranty. We found a little stick in it. Must have backed into a stick. I'm like, that doesn't, I backed the boat into a stick that ripped the bellows, and that's why it's leaking. That doesn't make sense. Whatever, just replace it, whatever. Dump it in the water last week. Guess what? The boat sinks, takes on more water than it ever has. Ever than it ever has. So in today's video, we're gonna try to figure out why it's leaking, where the water's coming from. It's the beginning of the season. I gotta get this thing in the water and enjoy our family time, make some memories. We built a house up there. We have a boat. We have a bunch of stuff that we wanna do, some plans. Like I took a lot of the season out. You can see how empty my shop is because I've been selling everything out so we can be on cruise control for the summer. And now I have a boat that sinks. Today's video, let's figure out why it's sinking and see if we can fix it. All right, at this angle with the speaker submerged, we have some water coming in from where the speaker is, but that is because we're really submerged. It's never been this deep before. Battery on, no ignition on, bilge is constantly running now. But with engine off, doesn't seem to be taking on any water anywhere. Engine running, deck submerged. 5 minutes running, engine's quiet, no water, temperature's perfect. Next test, we go a little deeper.
That's what she said.
That repair has not been submerged yet, so I don't think it's leaking, but we're gonna find out. All right, speakers are not submerged, boat's in the water, and the hull repairs are still above the surface, right there, above the water. Few minutes under, completely submerged, still under power, or running, no additional water. Gonna back the boat in a little deeper. All right, we are completely submerged underneath. Right away, there seems to be more water. I'm gonna shut the engine off and see what happens. 9:26 a.m. Battery and bilge are off. Water is up to the hose level. Now that we're on a level instead of on a decline, the water from the rear could have leveled right here. So we're just gonna let it sit for a few minutes. All right, we are officially floating. It has been 5 minutes. Let's see where we're at. We are up over the hose, but also we're level now. So it's not significantly higher than the hose. I'm gonna give it a few more minutes. All right, it's now 9:40, not running. We are up over the bilge pump right there. So sitting on a plane or sitting flat level, we are taking water in. Gave it power, bilge came on. Now 9:56, bilge is coming on and off. We're under the bilge pump now. All right, we're out of the water and we're losing. Like, there's a lot of water draining from here. Is that normal? Lots and lots. 10:02, we're in the water. All temperatures are perfect. Bilge is running. We have water below the hose. We will now go to the end of the pond and back. Time is 10:04, under full load for 2 minutes. Bilge is not on. Pump, there you go. We're over the pump right now. So under power, we take in more water. Bilge is on. I'm gonna let it sit for a few minutes. Right now, we are above the bilge pump. 10:10, bilge has been running constantly. Water level has not increased from where it was last 10:13, bilge is on. Water level has increased. More importantly, though, is there water under here? Yes. There is, no, there is not water under here. Yeah, there is. So there is water under here as well. It's pretty deep. Yeah, it's about 3-4 inches deep right there. 10:18, I quit. I don't know if that's normal. Is that normal? I'm not sure. And then here's gonna be a lot of water. That's how much water's in here now. So I was advised to fill the boat up again with water, plug it and see where the water comes out from, which is a great idea. I didn't even think of that. So I brought the boat back to the lake, unplugged it, backed in, letting it fill up now. And I'm gonna pull it out, plug it in and see where the water comes from. All right, the plug is in. We have a lot of water coming from right there. And then check this spot, because I know it's not a perfect repair or even a good repair, but it's dry. There's nothing leaking from here. And we'll check the other side. Here we go, nothing. It's like already dry actually, so it's not coming from here. We still have water coming from here though, with the plug in. I'm gonna take it back to my shop and see if it's still leaking from there. This is how much water we have on a level ground. It's like up to the bottom of that hose right now, basically up to that. You can see it's lower than that wall right there. So, you know what, I'll mark it with my finger in the grease. So right here, that way we can see that spot right there. And we'll see where it is when we get back to my shop. Before I go, it's still, that is just, to me, that's a lot of water. That's not normal, right? It's been a few minutes. It's 12:45, I'm heading back to my shop now and we'll check it again, see if it's still leaking from there. I do have some great news. Water was just pouring from here a minute ago. So yeah, that is at least a positive note, like we're finding it. So there's a good amount of water that just came from here. Let's check everywhere else. There's no more water coming from right there, and it seems to be pretty dry on this side, so it is coming from the other side. All right, so I have the boat on an incline now. Check it out. We found it. That is great, great news. That's where it's coming from. Look at that. I mean, terrible news, but also great news. Good amount of water right there. All right, here we go. That's the damage right there. I have it all cleaned out. It's pretty bad. So over time, the upholstery starts to pull apart, the stitching. So you'll see here is a repaired one. This is what happens. So the stitching just starts to pull apart on these like that right there. So what I'll use is some fishing line and a sewing needle. Fishing line is like heavy duty, and I'll just sew it tight. Sew it like that. Sew it, knot it from one end, pull it tight all the way through, and then knot it on the other end. And this is what it looks like. I'm not a seamstress, so don't give me shit about it. Now what I do after that, I take a little fabric tack, or like fabric glue, whatever. I'm gonna take a little bit of this. I'm just gonna dab it in between the threads, and that keeps the threads from pulling out. So we'll go right here. I'm just gonna go lightly. I don't want too much. I'm gonna go in between the seams. Just dab it, and that helps keep it together a little bit better. That's it right there. So you can't tell, but on the inside, now it's glued as well. And here we go. Sewed up, so they're not gonna come apart this season. All right, we have everything removed, and I injected fiberglass and resin into the crack that was right here. Then I used a marine grade epoxy to fill everything in and seal it up. This is after the epoxy. I couldn't get to the inside of the hull from the boat. I would have loved to lay sheets of fiberglass on the inside of the boat. I can't get to it. The head is there and the floor would have to be cut out to get to it. So I'm hoping I was able to inject enough resin and fiberglass on the inside of this crack to seal both sides. I got in there pretty deep. I don't really know though. All right, while our first coat of resin dries, I'm gonna clean the inside of the boat. It's pretty rough. Now, even though I cover it every year, we still get stuff all over it, just stained. Take a good look at what it looks like right now. The seats, the floors, just everything is generally gross.
This is the before. Hey, quick tip. I use a lot of mildewcide on the upholstery, kills all the mildew on the fabric. But this, I've used on literally everything. All the fiberglass, the upholstery, everything. This brush has saved me so much time, so many headaches. Definitely recommend.
1 hour later.
I'm about an hour in. Here's the upholstery. We're gonna do an upholstery repaint on it. But at least everything's clean as it can be. Now the rain's about to roll in, so I'm done.
3 days later.
All right, so for 3 days, I've been applying fiberglass to the hull of this boat. Now we did a resin injection on the inside. I grinded everything down. We found the crack, it was big. I did a resin injection all the way through. We could not get to it from the inside, but it is completely sealed and filled. Then we applied resin to the exterior of the boat. I applied some epoxy to the exterior of the boat. Then we did some fiberglass. So you'll see our fiberglass right here, and we did it to both sides of the boat. Now that is not just one coat of fiberglass. We apply the resin to the hull, then we put on the fiberglass matting, the sheets, and then I apply the resin over it. Then I sit and wait for it to harden. I sand it down again, then I apply resin, fiberglass matting, resin again, wait for it to harden. I've done that 4 times. So then there is 4 coats of fiberglass. Actually, we're probably on 5 coats of fiberglass now, and I just take the brush and I dab it as we go. That way, so like I put it on and it gets everywhere, and I kind of let it start to cure, and then I just dab it. If I swipe it, it pushes the matting and the hair everywhere. It makes a freaking disaster. So I just take the brush and I dab it to get all these little hairs back in place, and it's like a pretty smooth surface when it hardens. I can give it a light sanding coat. Then we're gonna do a fiber hair, like a Marglass coat over it. Marglass is different than body filler. Body filler is just like a paste that hardens and it cracks. Marglass has like fiber hair in it, and it kind of keeps it a little bit more bonded. So we're gonna do that to blend everything together, and then we can put like a hull paint over it. So hopefully that fixes everything. If it doesn't, I'm gonna lose my mind and just freaking blow this boat up.
A few hours later.
All right, it's been a few hours later. I did this morning. I came back, it's the evening. Oh yeah, that sounds good and feels good. There are some air bubbles in there I don't like though. I was blotting it, like dabbing it with the paintbrush. I don't want to smear it. I don't want to smear it because I'm just going to spread fiber hair everywhere. It's a freaking disaster. If I let it kind of get tacky, I can blot it. I'll blot it on all like the air bubbles, the air pockets it had, and you can see it presses in to alleviate any air bubbles. And even the little fiber hairs, it pushes most of them down. So a majority of fiber hairs are matted in, which is exactly how I want it. Now tomorrow, I can sand it smooth. We're gonna put some Marglass over it. I can prime it, and then we'll do like a boat hull paint on the underside of it. And I pray on choppy Lake Winnipesaukee this doesn't just tear my fiberglass. Oh, for frig's sake, I got fiberglass in my finger. Don't do what I just did. I just rubbed my finger across and that really hurt. Look at if you can see that right there. Son of a gun. Ow, that hurt. Don't always do what I do. Use like Tim Taylor from Tool Time Home Improvement. Used to make mistakes so you wouldn't make those same mistakes. I do the same thing for you guys. Hopefully, like I was saying, that really hurt. The choppy water on Lake Winnipesaukee doesn't just tear that fiberglass right off again. Only time will tell. All right, we have multiple layers of fiberglass, sanded, then resin, then fiberglass, then sanded, then resin. That is what it looks like. And now we're gonna apply some Marglass, which is like a body filler to help smooth everything out, and it has fibers, I've said this before. Instead of Bondo that's just gonna crack, the fibers kind of keep the Marglass together. We're gonna do it on both sides, multiple coats of that. Thin coats, I don't wanna just slop it in there. It's gonna crack, it's gonna fall off. So we're gonna do multiple small coats of Marglass, sand that, apply it, sand that, apply it, and then we can do like a gel coat over that. Here's the Marglass, Fiber Light, Fiberglass, whatever, it looks like that. And you can see like there's strands in it. It's not just one pile of goop. So from here, I'm just gonna slowly fill in all these little spots with a little bit of Marglass. While we wait for the Marglass to dry, let's cut the gel coat. I'm gonna bring all of this back to life, especially look at that right there. And that's just off a cut, so this from that. And here we go, the fade is real. Look at my reflection here, and then look at my reflection here. Here, here. All right, and I'm done sanding. Obviously the important thing is safety. Eyeglasses, respirator, you don't want to be inhaling this stuff. But look at how dirty I am. Everything is white. And we're ready for the final skim coat. Sand it lightly, and I can do a gel coat over it. There we go. That's the finished product. Cut and polished right there. And all this is not hazy, foggy anymore. No, we're only 50% of the way done. Yes, I know I have stuff all over my face. This boat's getting the better of me. But look at this. Look at how faded all this stuff is. Remember it now. and after. All that fading, gone. That's what it looks like, complete. Now we still have to do the whole interior and all the white. And that looks pretty darn good, actually. That looks good. All right, and there we go. It is ready for our hull paint, and we should be buoyant, I hope. And there we go. Finished product is, I'm actually pretty impressed with my handiwork. I gotta tell you, skilled labor, not really. I'm not really much for skilled labor, but like those lines, maybe I am much for skilled labor. I'm impressed with that. All right, so we also did a hull paint here, and I get to do the most satisfying part of my job, which is yoink, tape off. Oh yeah, I almost got the whole thing at once. Come on, man. I just really wanted to accent the faded part a little bit more. So there we go. Nice and clean instead of dull and faded. Let's check out the other side. Here in my car. Geez, that fade is awful looking. But look at the undercarriage. Look at the hull. Look how good that is. Let's go to the other side. I even did my trailer. So I sanded the trailer down because there was resin and fiberglass and all kinds of garbage on the trailer. Sanded that down. We painted that with actually a POR 15. And then here's the underside and that right there. Oh man, I got a little bit right here. Bummer. All right, seats before I upholstery paint them. Take a good look at what they look like now. I do have to do this every single year. That's what they look like right now. And here's the after, just a little bit whiter and a little shinier. So I have to do this annually. It's vinyl and fabric paint. Every year I have to redo it because it just gets gross. And I don't spray paint the seats. You want to like dust it. Like I just dust it on everything to just kind of tint everything back to white, and that's it. Here is this seat before. Take a good look at that one. All right, let's check on that white seat. So that is how it came out after the vinyl upholstery paint. I also did a coating on the mat that was right here. So this is a nice satin black again. It's textured. I do all these things once a year, like at the beginning of the season, so everything looks good and shiny and bright. I buff the boat. What's left, I still have to polish the white. Then we're done. I can put that thing in the water. Hope nothing cracks. The fiberglass stays intact. So to prevent my seat from falling in, I kind of rigged up one of these. I took a clamp, I bent it in half, put 2 holes, and then cut a pipe to fit, and this should keep my seat in place. Now I also have some like stool, like chair, what do you call them, like leg caps that I can put on the top of that to clean it up a little bit. There we go. And now it looks like it's supposed to be there. A little push button. Cool. So we took some fishing line and sewed some of the seat cushions back together. Now we're just stapling them to hopefully keep it all in place. All right, everything's stapled. Everything's sewn together. Dave is a seamstress that we didn't know he was. Let's put this on and see if it stays without my knee dropping on it. Here's the before. Notice all that fading? Would not buff out. I guess I could have wet sanded it more. Not coming out. So we're gonna scuff down the gel coat and then just put a boat paint. That part just barely sits in the water, so we're gonna sand it down and then paint it black. So look at it now. Logan, start from there, pull out. So satisfying. Pull out, roll it into balls. Nice. All right, go to the other side. What a difference. Well, you will see right here. There is no more boat. This boat has been here for 2-3 weeks, just taking up space in my parking lot, taking up so much space. It is no longer here because I think, fingers crossed, it's gonna float. This weekend we have some friends coming up for our annual birthday trip for a friend of mine, our family, our kids, his kids. Hopefully this thing fares well in the water. I have no idea. Hey, check this out real quick. People that do not know, this is a Sea-Doo 3D DI. DI standing fuel injected. That's the fuel injected version. This thing is really cool because it looks like a stand-up jet ski, right? Well, that is not all. If I pull this little lever right here, oh, now it's a real stand-up jet ski. But wait, there's more. If I pull, where is it? This lever right here, ready for it? 1, 2, 3, boom. That right there is a dirt bike seat or like a quad seat or something. So now you can drive it like it's a dirt bike or four-wheeler or whatever. It is by far the most fun toy I've ever owned. Now, if I tuck that thing back up there and lock that steering wheel in place like it just was, I can actually put a little seat right here that is a kart seat, so I can drive this thing on the lake, pond, whatever, like it's a go-kart. This thing has been mine for the past decade and a half. My son was on it when he was like 7 or 8, got a couple million views on YouTube, went viral with it. So much fun. I'm bringing it back to the dad at some point in another video. I don't know when, but it's here, so we're starting to make progress. I mean, it's not buried in the dirt in the woods anymore. So again, back to the topic. You'll see the boat isn't here this weekend. We're gonna try to put it in the water, see how it runs. I don't know. I'm just crossing my fingers and we'll see. So that'll be a third video. Hopefully this thing floats. So video 1 was a catastrophe. Video 2, we brought this thing back to life. Video 3, we're gonna dunk this thing in the water. Have a good time. Thanks for watching. I'll see y'all later. Oh, subscribe
if you want to see more of this stuff, like comment. What do you like? What don't you like? What videos do you love in series that I've made? I read them, so I'll make more of what you like to watch. And just the thumbs up is appreciated, so hit that thumbs up button. For me, I'll see you all later. Thanks for watching. Adios.
Welcome to Lake Winnipesaukee. The bilge pump just came on for the first time today. Honestly, I don't swear often, but I hate boating. Uh-oh, 30 seconds later, bilge just came on again.